Welcome to Pressure Point. Our topic is takeaways from Tesla's shareholder day. And as of this recording, which is about 30 minutes after Elon finished his Q&A, shares were up 0.25%. And my sense is that's probably how they're going to trade tomorrow. There was some substance there. We're going to jump into it. Of course, the headlines are all about his $1 trillion pay package being approved. And I just want to add one layer deeper on that announcement. And first and foremost, it's a win for Tesla shareholders. The fact that more of his time, not all of it, but more of his time is going to be spent at Tesla, and also that he has control. No one can force him out. That will motivate him to build a bigger company. And so that is a win for investors. The piece that jumped out to me was the 75% support of that. I mean, it was a huge number. I was expecting the vote to be much closer, kind of 55, 60% in favor. I did believe it was going to pass, but not by as wide of a margin. And the reason why that's important is that speaks to not only the retail, but importantly, the institutional support that Elon has for his vision. This pay package is all about a long-term vision, and that was evidence in the way that vote played out. And so why that's important is that when Tesla has a quarter where the fundamentals aren't quite lining up with a long-term vision, that's going to create somewhat of a buffer from the stock to prevent it from dropping dramatically, because investors are bought in for the long term. So that was the most important takeaway. That is the pressure point. And I'm going to dive into some of the details behind it and talk more about that long-term vision. Because when Elon took the stage, flanked by a couple Optimus robots, of course, a lot of support, ruckus crowd there in support of him being around. And the first thing he talked about is the next book of Tesla, in setting it up in contrast to when he's talked about next chapters of Tesla. And he started talking about Optimus and spent 5 minutes talking about Optimus before he mentioned any of their basically current products. Now, of course, he's talked a lot about Optimus in the past, but the reason why I just want that concept of him starting there to soak in, you just get a sense of where his head is at in terms of this package and what the next 5 years are about. It is all about Optimus. And to put some of that Optimus into perspective, the utility of it, he outlined things, everything from no need for jails because we'll just have an Optimus robot following people around, to kind of changing the need for currency. I mean, it's a very big goals there. But the production side, as far as what does that mean for the numbers and where does Optimus fits in, they're talking about doing 1 million units potentially eventually at Fremont and 10 million in Austin. If you give them the benefit and say they do 10 million a year and throw a dart at a dartboard and say it's $30,000, he's talked about $25,000, but let's say it comes in at 30,000. That's 300 billion in revenue. That's basically 3x the current size of where Tesla's at. And so you get a sense about, if you're going to kind of weight where he is thinking about where value is going to be created in the future, maybe it's 3/4 of it, half of it, 3/4 being with Optimus. So that was kind of like the sink-in point. A few more detailed points. A topic that came up that was relatively new was this idea of Tesla potentially building their own fab. They have struggled with their own silicon in the past. He's tried for a long time to do that, but they keep coming back to NVIDIA, keep coming back to those GPUs. But he made the case that they can do it for cheaper and less energy. And to do that, they are going to have to ramp their own silicon. He still said good things about NVIDIA, so NVIDIA shares weren't impacted that much. I think they were basically flattish in after hours. But he also talked about the need and this bottleneck around silicon and their own GPUs and CPUs, the need for more production, and that Tesla may get into the fab business and may have to partner with Intel to do that. So left some windows open. Intel shares traded up 3% on that. I don't think there's much there beyond some nice conversation, because the reality is silicon's really hard to do. He knows it better than anybody. It's good that they're pursuing that road, but my guess is they're going to be largely dependent on NVIDIA chips for a long time. One other kind of high-level topic is related to FSD. He said we're 1 to 2 months away from getting regulatory approval. I wouldn't put too much into that. We know of course, that we've had comments like that in the past, but it is a function of time. I think importantly, it is a function of time before they crack that. And they're going to crack it well before any other competitor. And I think that's what's most important. I think we sometimes get caught up on yet him saying it's going to be soon and doesn't happen. And I think we miss the big picture, which is their lead is so substantial within autonomy that they're going to have a nice competitive advantage longer term. One last comment related to the product side. He mentioned they're going to start production of 3 products next year. That, of course, being Cybercab in April. Previously, they said the second quarter, so that's kind of in line. Optimus production, which we knew would start in 2026, and the Semi. When you put those 3 together, it's important to remember that production is not volume. And my sense is that of those 3, one of them, Cybercab, may be in volume. It's dependent on how regulatory approval goes, but maybe in volume sometime in 2027. Optimus is not going to be in volume in 27. And the Semi, even if it is, it really doesn't matter much. So on the product side, he's laying the groundwork for some form of a breakout with Cybercab in the next couple of years. So those were all the takeaways. One fun postscript. Elon is the master at painting the vision. And I mean, the way he can kind of go at it for an hour and a half of prezo and Q&A and just keep talking about everything from battery chemistry to what kind of vehicles are going to be needed on Mars is just kind of a breath of fresh air as somebody who invests in tech, just to see somebody who's out there. And I think putting to rest the debate, is Tesla a tech company? On behalf of Pressure Points, I'm Gene. Bye for now.